We had zero contact. I couldn't talk to my daughter, couldn't see her. She had tried to take my son away and keep him away at the same time. And then when we finally went to custody with courts, I was actually able to get them both to live with me majority of the time during the week. So she gets them weekends, and I get them with the week so I can make sure they stay in school here with me.
Welcome back to another episode of Daddy Issues. Today we got on Hunter, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his story.
Hi, everybody. Like you said, my name is Hunter. I'm from a small town here in southern Colorado. I've been a dad for about 7 years now, 2 kids, 7-year-old and about to be a 5-year-old. Started off, for the most part, fairly fresh, I would say. I got married right out of high school. I was with my wife for a little over 7 years, or my ex-wife, I should say. We've been divorced for about 3.5 years now. Just jumped right into it. A couple years after we got married, had my first kid. Started having a bunch of issues with our marriage, and we kind of used our kid to try and fix everything, so to say. And a couple years down the road, we ended up having our daughter. At that point, our marriage was super rocky. We went through, ended up getting divorced, and we had to go through the whole custody issue, everything like that, and try and essentially just survive as a single dad with majority custody and still not necessarily having the court system or a lot of people on my side.
Oh, wow. You had majority custody in the beginning?
I'd say the first month was actually pretty hard while we're going through the whole custody stuff. I actually had my son for about a month and a half, and I wasn't able to see my daughter for that same time. And mainly it's because we didn't have anything set in stone, so nobody could force her to give me my daughter, and she didn't want to cooperate. So we went through essentially the zone where we had zero contact. I couldn't talk to my daughter, couldn't see her. She had tried to take my son away and keep him away at the same time. And then when we finally went to custody with courts, I was actually able to get them both to live with me majority of the time during the week. So she gets them weekends, and I get them with the week so I can make sure they stay in school here with me.
Wow. You don't hear that happen too often. When you say, like, so in the thing you sent me, you were like, oh, we've had, some up and down. It's been rough for a couple of years, and then we filed for divorce. Are there things that, like, was it just bad for a couple of years, or were there things like you could have done to change whatever the situation was between you and her, or was it just like you guys were both just kind of over it?
So I think we were both just kind of over it. We met in college. She's from another small town here in Colorado. Somehow she just happened to come to my hometown, and we both went to college same year. I think we're together for maybe 3 months, ended up getting married through the court system. And we were essentially like in a big honeymoon phase. And I think it was just that we were so young, that once we realized we were married and all the responsibilities that came with it, and we had our first child, that we kind of seemed like we just weren't meant to be together. Like they had different interests. They definitely had different interests in other people, and that was a big hiccup to try and push through. That I think we kind of just rushed into it.
Yeah, I mean, 3 months is definitely, obviously, pretty quick. I mean, but just like the honeymoon phase, you're in love and all of that. So, yeah,
right.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about, like, how's it going now? You've been divorced for 3.5 years. What's been going on?
So it's actually, so I had a recent girlfriend, I would say, and she was actually I never actually proposed to her. So she was almost the fiance, but we went more a promise ring route. And I think it's that I didn't want to move into something fast because of my last marriage. Like I said, I jumped into it extremely quick. But so the last couple of years with my ex-wife have been off and on rocky. She's been trying to battle. She actually gets child support and spousal maintenance still, even though I have majority custody. And then she,
so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Like I said, I have them almost full time for the school, and they live with me most of the week, and I end up still paying because the court system said that I made too much money that I have to pay her. So it's
That
just yeah.
really is. It's mind blowing. That is mind blowing.
No, it's unfortunately, and I don't know about other states, but Colorado is definitely a women state that they'll side with the wife first almost every time. So, but getting back to it, like I said, dealing with her, she's been off and on. I don't know what relationship number she's on now. So she'll be good when she's dating somebody, and then when they break up, she comes back causing me issues. Like I want the kids full time. I want them to school with me. I want to live with me, and then she'll get in relationships. That, oh no, you can have them. So it's just a big rocky thing. And like I said, I mentioned I was in a relationship. We actually split up maybe a little over a month ago now. And that was another big challenge. Like I said, for a single dad, she came in. We were together about 2.5 years. So a little bit after I got divorced, we got together. Um, she came into my kids' lives when they were still young. They accepted her as a mom. She actually accepted the role. Like I said, we were like pre-engagement. We had plans for our house, our future, everything, and that just unfortunately for some reason just we had it ended up going different paths. But another big headache. I see people around town and they're like, "Oh, this guy, like, he just want to be playboy." They look at a single dad and they don't necessarily always take this serious. And again, he has his kids out of spite for mom or stuff like that.
Hey guys, thank you for checking out this episode of Daddy Issues. Please go on over to patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth and help support us, man. Help support the podcast, help support what we're doing. And me and Mike have a whole nother podcast talking about daddy issues only on Patreon. We break down some of the episodes that we do here only on Patreon. So if you guys could help support, man, that'd be awesome. So patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth. All right, back to the episode. Yeah, and that one's tough too when you meet that woman and it's like, because obviously you got to put your kids first no matter what. So and it's tough, man, because especially when you get that woman and she accepts your kids and your kids accept her, because it takes a while for kids to, you know what I mean? I mean, your kids were young, but to accept another woman in their life as, almost a mom because she would have been married to you, and then to have her leave, that's hard on the kids.
It definitely is, and it makes even like the whole social thing just kind of weird. Like you said, like kids definitely come first and foremost every time, but that makes me like I have friends that come over and they're like, "Hey, let's go out. Let me introduce you to this girl," and she'll come over, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no." Like my kids are at the house, so like they're not seeing that. Like if I'd have free time, maybe I'll go out and talk to somebody once in a while, but for the most part, my focus is them foremost.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So, what's been going on with that? Have you spoke with her at all, or is it just you guys are just fully done? Like, is there a chance she might come back?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely wish that she will. The way that she took off, we didn't necessarily do anything bad. Like she didn't cheat on me, I didn't cheat on her. Um, she's going through full-time college student right now. And then I think just the stress of being an instant mom, so to say, not going through the pregnancy phase, and not even for one kid but two, just seemed like a little much for her. I think hopefully that there's the chance. We've actually started to talk a little bit more like as a friend basis. So I,
Yeah,
I definitely have hopes that it could flourish and maybe come back into something better in the future. But as for now, we're just like I said, friend status right now.
yeah, yeah. That's tough because I mean she's been with you for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, like I said, almost 3 years now. A couple months it would have been
Yeah.
3 years.
So, man, it's tough when she says shit like that. Like, the responsibilities. Like, you knew what the responsibilities were a while ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
but
that part definitely hit me hard. Where exactly what you just said. Like she knew exactly what she was coming into. Um, I had talked to her for a couple of months before she actually started coming into my kid's life, and she was okay with it at the time. But at the same time, I can't sit and wait for her. I got to focus on my kids and their everything first.
now, did you have? I know your ex was a little rough, but like, did you have a bad divorce, or was it somewhat clean, but like she's fighting for the kids, or how did that go down?
So I think it was pretty rough. And like I said, Colorado State, their law, we have to go a minimum of 90 days, I think. So we couldn't even just sign the papers and be done. They pushed us out.
But I
Um,
think that's a good thing, though. I think that's a good
it's
thing that they do
it,
that.
it I think it is for couples that like rush into a divorce and then they're like, oh shit, I don't want to do that, you know.
Right,
Um,
right,
but
right.
we were pretty sad. And I think what was more shocking is so I worked as a sheriff's deputy, and I had an old classmate that we used to date off and on in school, and she was one of my partners in the office. And we never did anything. I had told my wife about her. She knew who she was. She knew that we had feelings for each other at one time, but nothing ever happened. We were high school sweethearts, so to say. You know, like it never actually flourished into nothing else. And unfortunately, we ended up going to a call where she actually committed suicide, and that was just a rough time for me. I was actually the first deputy on scene, so I walk in with her family and I found her there. Had to take care of everything. I'm a supervisor, so I couldn't just walk away and let somebody else. I had to stay there and push through the entire processing, figuring out what happened, why it happened, whatnot. And that night, I remember coming home, and my wife at the time, we weren't divorced yet. She was just like something flipped on her. She's like, "You love her more. Like, if that was me, you wouldn't be acting like this." And
Jeez.
like just zero support. So I went there
Yeah.
next morning, got up, and she actually packed the kids and just left. So that was definitely like the start of a terrible divorce that we went through. I was going through a terrible time at work. Next day, I needed my family. You know, I wanted them to be there with me
Yeah.
to support and figure out what's going on. And instead, I wake up and they're gone. You know, like she just left the house. She's like, "We're done." And then she had talked about divorcing in there, and she's like, "Well, we need to fix us. This is your fault." A couple weeks went by, and finally, I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "Something's not getting fixed." I was like, "We got to process this." So I went to file, and little did I know she had already filed. She had already had a court case open. From a couple of days after she had left. So she went through,
Oh
pushed all the
wow. You just
paperwork.
never got served.
Yeah, so when I went to file,
Right.
that's when I got served. They gave me the paperwork, and they're like, "Oh, she
Wow.
already has the case." She's like, "You don't want to just add it to hers?" So that's where we went through there, and then, um, like I said, it was just one bad thing after another for the divorce process. We had a shared computer at the time, and she had actually left her messages open on the computer. And I remember opening it one day when
Yikes.
we went to go to like when I was getting ready to prepare for court and stuff, and I went message after message, and just I couldn't understand all the people that are feeding into her to essentially just tear me down as
Oh, just her
Colorado
talking
State.
shit to her friends.
So, well, not even friends, like just well, some friends, but even family. They're like, you know what? They're like, Colorado's a woman's
Wow.
state. Like, you could take him for anything she wanted. Like, I had court message or screenshots of her messages saying, like, well, you know what? Like, I don't care about child support, but I'm going to try for every penny he has because he has a good job. If she's like, I'm going to go after this and that. I want all
Did
the
you
items
show
in the
that to
house.
court?
So I did, and like I said, I still end up paying child support. It's
Right. I guess.
insane.
Yeah. Right.
The judge
I guess the
she
judge
saw it
thought the
and
same thing.
yeah, she's like, well, I guess I won't. Basically, what she did, she cut it in half. So she gave me a break, but she still made me pay. So I don't know. Like I
Wow.
said,
Yeah, there's
being
no break because you have the majority of the kids. So there, yeah, that's
right.
that's wild. But it does seem like your ex almost had that. She was waiting for something big to happen and then leave. Like that's what triggered it because it's like it seemed like she already was kind of ready to leave. She was just waiting for something to happen and she used that as the excuse because she should have been there supporting you. I mean, that's clearly you're not in love with you know what I mean? Like you're not going to leave her for this woman and it's like she should have been supporting you for that. So it seemed like she just used that to just as the excuse.
No, it definitely did seem like that, and even like throughout the divorce process, like I actually had family, like my family members that would come forward, and my mom, she told me, she's like, "What did you do?" She's like, "Yeah," she told me, "Your ex told me that you were out on different nights, like you would go sleep out on her and stuff like that." And little did I know, like she had been planning this for months, because my mom even told me, she's like, "We went on a
Yeah.
trip one time, and she's like, she was telling me, she's like." because my parents are divorced, and my mom told me that my ex told her if we have to co-parent, we're not going to do it like you and your husband. She's like, we're going to be good and we're going to share custody of the kids, and like, and my mom's like, why are you even talking like this? Like, you
Jesus.
guys are married. Why would
Right.
you try and plan what happens if you're not? You know. So I definitely agree with that. That she definitely had something planned. She just didn't know when to walk out. So
Yeah. Damn. Well, how are you coping with all this now? I mean, it seems like you're doing still pretty good. But to lose your wife and then also to lose a girlfriend that you love is like it's a lot back to back.
yeah, no, it is, and it's weird because when my girlfriend left now, my ex, she actually like she seemed to turn like a little. How do I say? I'd say she's trying to act generous now, or actually compassionate. I would say, and she's tried to talk to me. My big thing, um, like I know a lot of guys will go to drinking and like going out and party, but I've thought about it. I've sat there, reflected, doing stuff, making stupid decisions. But for the most part, what I've been trying to do, I threw myself into my work, honestly. So
Yep.
any day that I
Good for
had
you.
off when I wasn't with my kids, I was going picking up every overtime shift I could and any little odd job here that I could to just essentially keep my mind
Yep, dude.
busy, you know?
So good.
Yeah.
So it's so good that you do that. My one of my best friends, John Haley, same thing. He's a cop in San Antonio, Texas. His wife, did crazy stuff. They ended up getting divorced. He did the same exact thing. Took every single overshift time he could and just worked, 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 kept his mind off it. I mean, he's doing so well now because of that. You have so many dads that get into the slump and they'll start drinking. They'll be so, bummed out. And it's like, it, it, it sucks because like clearly everybody understands, but at the same time, if you can get out of that and do good now, you know what I mean? Just keep working, keep thinking ahead. It's only going to be better for you, man.
It definitely is, and it does suck. Especially, I think just being down in a slump as a guy just sucks in general. Not necessarily even just a dad,
Yeah.
you know. Um, Being a dad, I think that's definitely been one of my big motivations to not get down and fall into that hole, you know. Um, and I know some days like when my girlfriend first left my kids because they called her mom, you know, and they asked her like when is mom coming back? And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, right now, mom's not coming back, and they're little, so it's hard. I can't just tell them we broke up. They don't understand that, you know. So I had to essentially explain it as right now, mom and dad aren't friends. I was like, but she's your friend, you know. I was like, because you guys definitely didn't do nothing wrong. But it's funny. My daughter, she's 4, and she comes up to me and she told me she's like, it's okay, Dad. She's like, I'll be your friend for you, and it's hard because you have these two little kids that look up to you for everything, tiny stuff like this, and
Yeah.
trying not to break down in front of them. You know, it's just they're one of I'd say probably my biggest motivation for sure to keep
Yeah.
going and find something to distract myself. You know.
Yeah, I mean, even if you break down in front of them, it's like they'll have your back. You know what I mean? Like they love you literally forever. So yeah, man, that it's tough. But your kids, I mean, that's so great to hear that your kids say that to you because they truly love you.
You know, that's the love from a kid is unlike anything. You know, like parents, they love you because you're their kids, siblings and friends or family because you're in the family. But a kid, is
Yeah.
just genuine, unconditional love. You know, they don't
Oh,
they don't see
it's
your
the best
dad.
thing ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's the best thing ever when your kids are like, "Oh, I love you, Dad. I love you." You know what I mean?
you
Like
know,
it's the
just
best thing
yeah,
in the world.
getting their little hugs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's definitely something that I cherish and hold on to make sure I can push forward for them.
yeah, yeah. So where are you now? Like, what are you up to now? You still have primary custody of your kids? Are you still working as a sheriff deputy?
I am. Like I said, I'm actually a supervisor, so I'm a sergeant with them. Um, but I'm still doing that. We actually just recently moved. We've been in a new apartment maybe for uh, since the first of the month, I would say. And it's because we were living with my girlfriend. We had shared we had ended up moving into a family house that she had on her side of the family.
Oh, and then
So
when you split, you guys had to leave.
yeah, so we
Yeah,
and her family was really good with me. They let me stay as long as I needed, but I couldn't put myself through staying there without her, you know. So, but we actually just moved into. I'd say we actually just finished moving, unpacking everything, maybe like 2 3 days ago. So, new house, same town, but kids are excited and definitely helps me push forward. They see it. They're closer to their school now. Like I said, I have them all school year, so they're super excited. Like now we can walk to school, Dad. I don't have to ride the bus. So yeah, no, we're doing, I would say, fairly decent right now. After getting all over all of these bumps, it seems to slowly leveling
Yeah.
itself out. You know.
Now, how is it as like a single dad doing that? Like, because you still have to work, but bringing them to school and picking them up and things like that. Do you have help, or is it pretty much just you, and you figure it out?
So I'm actually very lucky to have my mom live. She's about 3 blocks away from me. Um,
Oh, nice.
and she's a school teacher at the school. So during the school year, we're in summer break right now, but in the school year, I've actually been fortunate enough that if I, because of my job, if I have to stay late or if I go in early, that I can drop them off, or I can actually have her pick them up for me, and that's definitely been a huge break on my side. Especially being a single dad, not having somebody else at the house to make sure they're there with the kids. You know, it's a huge uh, point of reliability. I would say that I can generally rely on her. I'll be like, hey, look, I'm on a call right now. I won't get out for another 2 3 hours, and I just have them stay there at the school with her. Or when I go to work in the morning, she can either come over, or I have a couple other close friends that I trust my kids with, and they'll help watch them for me. And luckily for me as well, my sheriff and my undersheriff, both of them are very understanding, and they know that if something happens at the house, my kids are first. That if I'm at work on the
Right, right.
call,
Like I
I
gotta
have
go.
something to go, I tell them like, nope, I gotta go,
100%.
and they generally respect that, which is a huge perk to have with the workforce, at least, you know.
It really is because you never know when you have to go. Like if your kid's sick at school and needs to come home, like there's no other option. I mean, obviously your mom, but it's like if you didn't have her, it's like
Right.
I gotta go. Like I
Well,
gotta go
even
pick up my
even at
kid.
that, she works. So if they're sick during the day, there's definitely been days where they call me, and the school is understanding too. And sometimes my kids will sit in the nurse's office for like half hour, while I'm trying to get off and get back to the place, you know. But it's definitely one thing that I found, that your family and kids, you definitely got to put first. At the end of the day, my job is just a job, you know. If I leave or they don't want me, I'm going to be replaced the next day, but I can't be replaced in their life, and they're definitely not going to be replaced in mine.
100%, man. Wow. It's such a tough job. It is such a tough job being a single dad, but you are killing it. You're doing awesome, man. And it sucks that you've definitely gone through some loss for sure. And I hope your girlfriend or your ex girlfriend, kind of figures it out and comes back. But you seem like a great guy. So I ask everybody this, and hopefully you can give some insight on it. But if you could give some advice to other dads out there, what would it be?
So one thing that I would say that I wish was said to me is, don't take everything else so serious. You know, don't take your job. Like obviously you got to take it serious enough to keep it, because it's your income to provide for the kids. But don't put any of that other stuff above your kids. When I was a kid, I went through, and my dad worked full time. I saw him once in a while. Still somebody that I really looked up to is in the military. We actually don't have a great relationship, but there's still a part of me that looks up to him, you know. And when I had my own kids, that part hit me, where a dad is a very important role in the kid's life, whether you have full custody or not. Um, just show up, you know. That's all they want, is just to show up, show that you want to be there. Generally, you're not showing up because you have to, but because you want to, and just support them. They have so many crazy ideas and dreams that it's so amazing to just watch their little imaginations run, and to be able to be there. So when they turn around and they say, my dad's right there, my dad's got my back, you know. So like I said, just number one advice is show up. Whether you're going through a divorce, like I had times where, even when my girlfriend left me now, or while I was going through my divorce, where I thought, you know, the easy route is to sign custody over, and I'm 1,000% happy that I did not do that. That I kept fighting for my kids, because you do that one time, they're never going to look at you the same, you know. And
Yep.
that's one thing that you got to just do, is just show up and make sure that your kids know that you're willing to fight for them no matter what. Whether you don't see them for a couple months because you're going through a custody agreement or anything like that, that you're still fighting. That they know that no matter what, you'll be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's literally the most important thing is to fight for your kids. The shitty part about that is you're fighting the mother. You know what I mean? Like you guys should be getting along, so it's because it's all about the kids. But yeah, there's so many dads in here, man, who are just fighting, fighting, fighting for their kids just to be able to see them a little bit. So
It is, and when you said that, that made me think of one other thing, that at the end of the day, you got to remember that you are fighting their mom, you know, and like there's a lot of bad feelings and like bad stuff that I have towards her, but that's another big thing that I try not to do, is I never try to badmouth her, you know. If I have to talk about her to somebody else, I'll try and use like a code word that only me and that person know. So like my like if I'm talking with certain family, like I'll say it, or I'll say a certain word, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're talking about your ex-wife," you know?
it's like that broccoli sucked tonight.
Right? Definitely. And like I said, it's we're all human. We're gonna slip and say some crappy stuff, you know.
Yeah, of
You
course.
get hurt,
Yeah.
you're gonna hold it eventually. But like I said, it's a big thing to not say it in front of them, because I had my kids come back and they're like, "My mom told me that you didn't like this, or that my grandma didn't like her and stuff." And I was like, "You know what, bud?" I was like, "Me and your mom aren't friends." I was like, "But I don't not like her." I was like, "We're just not friends." I was like, "But we both love you, and that's the main thing, you know." And so they don't get that resentment where they feel unsafe to share stuff about their mom, or share stuff about me with her, you know.
No, that's huge, and that's how you have to talk to those a kid at that age. But damn, it sucks that she's kind of on the other side. It's happening where she's talking shit or doing whatever. But you're definitely doing the right thing, man. It's tough to hear that too, and you want to be like you want to express yourself, but you're talking to two little kids, and you can't be talking shit. So
Yeah. So no, it's definitely a struggle as a single dad, and all the dads out there, even the ones that aren't single, I give every parent props. You know, being a parent is hard, especially when you're a young parent. Like I said, I got married out of high school. My first son, I think I was 21, and
yeah,
a lot of people, like it's definitely a different mentality. As I see people that have kids now, and they're like, "I still want to go party, and I don't want to do this," and I'm like, you know what, dude? I was like, that's a different life. Like once you're a
yep.
parent,
You got responsibilities.
your main focus is those kids. You know, like you can have fun once they graduate. You can have fun with them. You don't need a party to have fun. Like I said, my kids, they're a blast. We do so many stuff where partying or drinking's not even involved, and it's a blast because you remember everything too. You don't have to worry about blacking out. So,
Right. No, but it's so for real. Like that's such a mindset. When you have kids at 21, 22, 23, and you want to still party, you want to still hang out. It's like you had sex. You decided to have sex. You just you're having a kid. You gotta man up now or woman up. You know what I mean? Like you're having a baby. You gotta step up and take care of these kids or this kid.
right? Yeah, it's definitely like you said, it's a choice that they made. If you don't want kids, there's protection and stuff out there to prevent that, you know. So, um, there's definitely a lot of people that I don't think they're not bad parents, but I don't think they take it as serious as they should. Um, because I don't think anybody is trying to be a bad parent, you know. They're just their
Mm.
priorities need to be a little changed, and is what I would say.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. I definitely I like what you're doing. I watched a lot of the videos when I subscribed, and it's a good thing to see that and know that I'm not the only dad that has had issues with trying to raise my kids or going through custody battles. You know, it's definitely not a subject that I don't think is talked about a lot. There, for one, we're guys, and everybody thinks, oh, he's a guy. He hasn't taken care of. You know, when they ask for help, they'll either laugh at you or they just won't take you serious. So I generally, your podcast is amazing. I thank you for
Thank you
having
so much.
talking to all of these other dads out there.
Yeah, no, I was going through this for 6 years, and I was just so frustrated. I put my story out there, and then I started joining these Facebook groups because like I needed other dads to talk to, and it just blew my mind how many other dads were going through something like this. But you're right, you don't hear about it because like as men, as guys, whatever, you're kind of raised to not share your emotions. You know what I mean? Like you're a man, kind of man up. So it's been great, man, and to talk about it too. It's like therapy to kind of get it off your chest, or at least it was for me. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely even just talking on the podcast now. It's definitely been a big thing, and that stigma definitely is out there. Like, don't share your feelings. You know, you can't let people know you're sad. You can't let people see you cry or stuff like that. And it's definitely something that was distilled into me when I was little, and I catch myself every once in a while. My son does something, and I'm like, no, like stop. And I'm like, wait. I was like, no. I was like, it's okay, you know. I was like, if you're upset and you're sad, I was like, we got to work through. I can't just tell you to hide it away because that doesn't work in the end. And that's taking me a whole it's taking me a whole lifetime to figure that out. That doesn't work, and I don't want my son to go down the same path that I did. If I could help him or other dads, I'm definitely up for sharing my story anytime.
awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yo, I don't want to keep hitting you guys with it, but please come support over on patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth. It would mean a lot. We really put a lot of work into this podcast. So if you guys have time and you guys like the content that you're getting, it would be a huge help if you guys could support us over on patreon.com under Daddy Issues the Truth. All right. Thank you guys.
You can hold me down. You can hold me down. You can hold me down.